hear me? I'm working from my office this morning, so it's a little different than the home visit. Glad to be here this morning. Thank you all for joining us. I just wanted to make a couple of comments about the Career Development Center and how important it is as a resource for GTF scholars, all students in general, but GTF scholars in particular. I'm finding that many students at this stage of the game coming into the university with so many credits thought they were on the right path when they started their college classes when they were 14 years old back in the early college high schools. And as they progressed toward graduating from high school and moving into transitioning to the university, I'm finding that even in the last few weeks of working with a lot of you, that you're still a little unsure of where you are going to eventually wind up as far as a career. And so I think it's important. The mistake that many students make is that they think about the Career Development Center in their final semester when they're getting ready to graduate. You guys are on the fast track. You only have 2 to 3 years, and most of you will be finished with degrees. So we want to make sure that you are comfortable on the path you're on right now, career path. I feel in one of the classes that I taught for many years, I had an activity that had to do with thinking about your dream job. And I always say I think the ideal job for anyone, the most appropriate job for anyone, is a combination of several things that I know Christy's going to be talking about today. One is obviously interest. You have to be interested in what you're going to be pursuing. Many times people pursue careers for the wrong reason. It's a family business, so they find themselves coming in through the back door and unsure of their abilities to really pursue what they want to. So interest is a big part of it, obviously. The next is ability. Clearly, you know, if you're interested in a particular career, but you don't have the ability, the skills that are necessary, and that's not your strength, that's not a good fit for you. For example, if I laugh about myself, I'm much more a language person than a math person. If I chose a career which was heavily involved in math, I would have some real challenges. If you have trouble balancing your checkbook, becoming an accountant is probably not the best fit for you. So you have interest, you have ability, you have self-satisfaction, some career that's going to give you satisfaction over the long haul. In this day and age, people change careers many times over the course of many years. Rarely do people get into something at 20 years old and when they're 65, they're still in that same career path. They've adapted, they've adjusted. So, something that's going to give you at least some long-term self-satisfaction. And then there's also the moral aspect of it. If you are in a career that you enjoy doing, that you're interested in, you have the ability for, but it compromises your moral integrity. You're doing something that you know goes against your conscience. That is not a good fit for you. So as you think about your career, I also want you to think about, something that I encourage students to think about is that there's a disconnect many times with what you think you're good at and how that translates into a career. And that's how Christy can help you. Take, for example, the medical profession. People obviously in medical profession involves a lot of math and science skills to get you where you need to be to get into medical school, to get through the coursework. So if that is not your strength, math and science, then perhaps that's not a good fit, but it's much more than those skills in math and science. For example, have you ever thought about what a doctor does on a day-to-day basis? A doctor's not sitting around working math problems. So if you're a good mathematician, and that always came easy to you, the same thing in terms of science, that is maybe a part of the job, but the end result being a doctor 24/7 requires much more than just mathematical ability. So there's a disconnect, as I said many times. People say, I'm good in math, so this is the career I should have. I encourage you to start exploring, with Christy's help, what is involved in the career path that you're going down right now. Eventually, there's internships, there's job shadowing, many ways that you can get an insight into what those jobs entail, much more than just a description on a piece of paper. Our alumni services here at the university may connect with somebody who graduated with the same degree you have and is doing something totally different, but started as a springboard with that degree. So I want you to think about a lot of the things that you're going to be hearing today and see if you are sure right from the beginning you knew the career path you wanted, this will reinforce that. If you are unsure of where you want to ultimately end with the career, this may give you some options, some opportunities to explore other options that you might not even consider. I always give the example of walking into a restaurant and the waiter approaches you and asks you to place your order. And you say, I haven't even seen the menu. I don't even know what the options are. We think many times, even in terms when I go back to the medical profession, we think of doctor and nurse. There's hundreds and hundreds of jobs related to the medical profession that are in that field, but that are not the path of a doctor or nurse. So again, open your eyes to all the possibilities. There's absolutely nothing wrong with changing your major. Here's a time to explore. So I turn you over to Christy, and I look forward to a successful workshop. Thank you.
I am so sorry. I was on mute. I didn't realize that. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you for those encouraging words. Very great advice. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I have to say, I'm excited for everyone to be here. I want to just actually make a small comment. I have to say, whatever Haydar Rashid is eating, it looks very tasty. What are you having for breakfast? That looks very good.
I'm eating some eggs and like some croissants.
Well, that looks very delicious. I'm like, he's enjoying that breakfast. Just wanted to point that out. So once again, you know, as you can tell, this workshop's going to be very informal. Feel free, you guys right now, everybody's on mute, but feel free if you have a question, you can either put it in the chat box, the chat room. I will go ahead and ask Mr. Kuzmek if he can keep an eye out while I'm presenting, because sometimes what happens when I share screens, I can't see all the chats coming in. If not, you can always unmute yourself and then just feel free to ask a question, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. All right.
Christy, I have one comment if I can.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Haydar, good morning. I also think that I can't wait to get the GTF shirts to you. We need to have a UH downtown as opposed to an HCC shirt, but we appreciate that as well. Thank you.
Professionalism. This is where we're going to learn all of these tips here. So that's a good tip right there, Brandon. Thank you. So let's go ahead and share my screen. Let's do this. You may see my toddler in the background, but let me go ahead and pull up. There it goes. Okay, so yes, usually, as I mentioned, I know we are all working from home or studying from home. Today I'm in the office due to the simple fact that Zoom was kind of acting up earlier this week for me at home, but I would be in the same place, you know, at the comfort of my home with maybe my toddler popping in and out. So feel free, like I said, it's an informal workshop. Feel free to, you know, pop in, ask a question here and there, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and get started with this. I think that you may see all of my screens right now. So let me end this slideshow. I kind of just want to focus on just this. Let's see. Okay, so it's going to go ahead and maybe show everything, and that's okay. Let me try this. Stop share. The wonderful thing about working, you know, on Zoom and working from home, or in this case, in my office, is that we are always testing out our technical media presentations that we use. So let's do this. Okay, maybe, okay, so I think we got it. So you may just end up seeing one slide. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if you can just see one PowerPoint slide. Perfect, awesome. So let's go ahead and get started. So today we will be discussing the Focus 2 and the career and academic planning that comes with the Focus 2. And this workshop is actually for, you know, was created just for GTF scholars. So feel free to ask any questions. Once again, my name is Christy Cervantes. I'm gonna keep saying my name to, you know, keep drilling that in so you can remember who I am. And so like Mr. Kuzmek was going over our services, I will help you with, you know, of course, you know, coaching you with any questions that have to do with getting you ready with getting you career ready or workplace ready. Also with any questions that you may have with your resume, if you have one. If you have not started a resume, don't worry, you can always come to me. I can guide you and show you how to create a resume, okay? I'm also here to help you with your interviews. Sometimes, you know, you may, once we get your resume ready, and let's say, for example, you have a job or a recruiter call you up and they want to interview you, that's the next step. So we'll definitely be here to help you. We actually help students and we conduct mock interviews. So what a mock interview is where you would actually, where I, as a career coach, would do research on the company that you are interviewing with. I actually go in, research the company. I go and try to research questions that they may ask you in an interview. And so we pretty much conduct a mock interview or like a fake interview. And so we practice and we go over the questions and the answers that you will provide and then just work from there. So that's the neat thing about our main career center, is that we provide those type of services, your resume, your mock interviews, the job/internship search. We have all of that as well. And then on top of that, we will also have workshops throughout, you know, the semesters, throughout the academic year. And then we also have career fairs. So we do have career fairs throughout the academic school year. Of course, right now, because of the unusual circumstances that we are in, most of our career fairs well, all of our career fairs for the fall semester will take place virtually. But we will make sure that there will be no difference of what you experience in a face-to-face career fair than what you would experience in a virtual career fair. So that's what we've been working over all summer, getting everything ready for this academic school year. We are up and going for fall 2020. Now for spring 2020, we are still planning. We're going to see where we are at, you know, not only, you know, as a university as a whole, but also as the city of Houston. But for right now, everything we are conducting pretty much all services virtually, as well as we are also on campus, some of us. The days that I'm on campus is Tuesday and Thursday. However, we are still mandating virtual appointments. So if you do need to see me, it will be through Zoom. But like I said, I can guarantee you that you will not see a difference of what we would go over face-to-face as well as in the Zoom appointment. I pretty much try to cover everything in both types of appointments, okay? So let's go ahead and kick it off. Okay. So I know as a GTF scholar, you may have already, you know, you are starting UHD, you are starting your freshman year as, you know, already either you're classified as a junior or a senior, depending on how many credits you have. But most of you all may be classified as a junior. You may already be coming in with an associate's degree. So kudos to you, you know, definitely that is a huge accomplishment to you, for all of you to have right as you are starting your freshman year. Amazing accomplishment. And so I'm pretty sure that when you were, you know, when you were younger, maybe elementary, middle school, even in high school, you always heard this question, what do you want to be when you grow up, okay? And so I'm pretty sure it was easier, you know, how you answered when you were younger. You probably were, you know, it was easy. You could shout out careers that were so straightforward, like, oh, I want to be, you know, a lawyer, a doctor, a nurse, a police officer, a firefighter. But I'm sure as you grew up, you started discovering that there are so many other careers out there that we, you know, maybe adults, you know, do not mention. And so that's, you know, where sometimes you start experiencing, you know, maybe some confusion, maybe some, you know, you start getting nervous and, you know, sometimes you're overwhelmed by so many decisions. So I know that, you know, now that you, or, you know, in high school, since you started your college career in high school, the questions transitioned over to what kind of career do you want? What is your major? What do you plan on studying? So those are the questions, those are the type of questions that you'll get as a young adult. And it's similar to what do you want to be when you grow up? And so it seems, you know, as human nature, we always tend to go blank when we're asked this question. I mean, I know I still, whenever, you know, I have individuals who ask me, so what are your 5-year, you know, what's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? What is your overall career goal? And I go blank. I think, you know what, I haven't, you know, I've thought about it, but I haven't really pinpointed where I see myself 10 years. I do see myself growing and, you know, definitely advancing in my position. But to actually, you know, single-handedly point out, oh, this is what, you know, an actual position. And it's okay, you know, definitely it is okay. As we grow older, we change. And so the point of this workshop is to help you understand who you are, how to navigate those types of questions, and also to explore all the different options that you have. And so I definitely took a little a meme from online, you know, using Toy Story. I don't know how many of you all love Toy Story. Like I mentioned earlier, I have a toddler, so right now I am reliving my childhood through them. And actually, I'm keeping up to date with all of the different Disney movies and the Pixar movies. It also helps that we have Disney Plus now. And so definitely it's always cute, and I always try to find memes that may incorporate some of the characters. So, you know, it is true, taking the next step in life, that's part of college and career, you know, that's going to be part of your college career here with us at UHD. And so you can tell from the facial expressions, you know, you have Buzz Lightyear, who's always been confident and, you know, always has an amazing, you know, response to everything. And then you have Woody that's always worried, or he's always, you know, cautious about the next step, or always thinking and analyzing. And so, you know, just looking at these two characters, always remember, you know, you may have certain times in your college career where you feel confident. You're like, okay, this is what I'm going to major in. I'm going to go and take these type of classes. And maybe you may hear a conversation or may do a research, and then you may find yourself doubting, like, is this something that I want to do? And so that's what we are here for, to help you with navigating through your college career as well as your career pathway. So one thing that I want everyone here to take from today is the top 8 career competencies, or 8 skills that employers or companies are looking for, okay? These are the top 8 skills that you should already have by the time that you graduate with us here at UHD. So they're looking for you to be strong in critical thinking or problem solving skills. So definitely, you know, they put you in a position, and, you know, let's say, for example, you are, you know, working, you know, you're the only person at the office, or, you know, in your job setting that day, and something happens, you know, the employers and your managers are wanting to see what would happen if maybe you were in charge of a project, or, you know, let's say a problem arise while you're on the job. You know, how quick are you to think on your feet? Now, it's not saying, you know, you need to have the permanent solution, but can you come up with a temporary solution until you're able to talk to your supervisor and let them know, hey, this is what happened. I troubleshooted this problem, but, you know, in the meantime, this is how we were able to still continue with business. And so that involves, you know, strong critical thinking skills, strong problem solving skills, okay? The next skill would be, you know, of course, having strong oral and written communication. It does not go away. I understand that nowadays, especially with today's technology, it is so easy for us to, you know, pretty much probably just shoot, you know, a thumbs up, an emoji, a happy face, a sad face, maybe use abbreviations for long sentences like, you know, be right back, BRB, or, you know, the other ones, laughing out loud, LOL. But it's still important for you to be able to communicate strongly, both orally and written, because employers look at that. You know, if you need to email the CEO of your company, you know, you can't start off the, you know, the email with LOL, you know, BRB. You definitely want to say, you know, dear sir or madam, you know, thank you for your email. It's been brought to my attention, etc. You know, sincerely, you know, Christy Cervantes. I'm using my name, for example. So definitely keep working on your oral and written communication skills. The next competency to develop is to have strong teamwork and collaboration skills. You know, I know that you all, you know, have started college, you know, while you were in high school, and now you're continuing your college education. And so just to let you all know, once you graduate, you know, teamwork, collaborating with your colleagues, you know, group projects, they do not end, they continue, okay? So I know sometimes, you know, as a college student, you know, you may have a group project or a group presentation. And most of us, you know, I will admit that when I was in college and I heard, you know, oh, it's going to be a group presentation, sometimes I would cringe, you know, but it's something that does not stop once you graduate. And that is the reason why when you're in college, you are given group assignments, group presentations to work on, because you still need to continue to collaborate with your classmates, because you will keep doing that once you are in the professional setting where you're collaborating with your colleagues, okay? So the next one would be leadership. You know, you definitely need to work on the skill of, you know, being a leader, and not only being a leader, you know, for example, moving yourself up to supervisor or CEO. Those are great goals to keep in mind and to work towards, but it also means taking the lead in your role, in your position that you have, taking the lead in your projects and your initiatives that you are assigned. And so you definitely want to keep working on those skills within yourself. Of course, moving on, digital technology. Like I mentioned earlier, technology is not going anywhere. If you would have told me a year ago that, you know, I would be working from home since, you know, for 5-6 months, and that I would need to know pretty much, I would have to be up to my game with digital technology, I would not have believed that. I would have said, you know, I don't know, you know, we do use Zoom here and there for virtual appointments for students that can't make it to campus or online, but had I known that, hey, by the end of 2020, you may become a professional at Zoom, I would have, you know, probably just, you know, maybe laughed it off or something like that. But just to show you, life is always changing. So you definitely want to make sure that you are keeping up to date with your skills, including your technology skills. So this could not only include, you know, Zoom, it includes Microsoft Office, you know, learning how you use Excel, learning how to maybe program or code. Those are important skills to have. So, you know, with being a student nowadays, and especially being a little bit younger, you all grew up with technology, you know, right at the, you know, at your, you know, fingertips. And so one question that I always ask all my students is, how old were you when you first, you know, got your cell phone? And, you know, I'll be surprised when we're doing the face-to-face workshop, you know, students don't really think about it, or they just shout out, you know, I was 13, 11, you know, I think the youngest I heard was 10 at one point. And when I tell them, well, I was 18 years old when I first got my cell phone, you know, I do hear a little bit, you know, some laughs in the background, but you have to remember that, you know, I grew up in a different time, you know, and so cell phones were just coming out when I was 18 years old. I think they had a brief stint in the 80s. I wasn't born then yet, but I was born mid 80s. But so whenever I was right out of high school is when cell phones came back. And so, and it wasn't what we have now. It wasn't these amazing smartphones. It was, I think, like the little flip phones or the little brick type of phones. And so you definitely just want to see how technology has improved and how it's just not going anywhere. So y'all keep working on your digital technology. Next is professionalism, work ethic. You know, you definitely want to work on your skills of being professional, having a strong work ethic, you know, getting to work on time, maybe, you know, sometimes it helps you to get to work 5 minutes earlier, answering your emails in a professional manner. And even then, how Mr. Kuzmek pointed out earlier, you know, even with your attire, you know, even, you know, focusing on the company or the organization that you work with, you know, looking at how I have my UHD collar shirt, you know, it's just all about professionalism and showing that you're, you know, showing your company, showing your organization, your supervisor that you want to be there and that you care. The next one is career management. You know, managing your career. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years with the company that you receive an opportunity with? or if you are already working in your dream company. Some of you may already be working, you know, maybe in a position that will help you grow within the company that you're interested in. So think about those type of questions and start building those skills. And of course, the last one is global intercultural fluency. You know, being able to work with individuals from all types of backgrounds, you know, especially now, you know, today it's very important that, you know, if you haven't, which I'm sure that, you know, everyone here has been, you know, working with individuals of different backgrounds, but just making sure that you know, keep learning about, you know, different backgrounds, you know, different, just different ways on how to be able to conduct yourself and get along with everyone in a professional as well as in a personal environment. And so we have various ways in the main career center of how to help you with these type of skills. You know, if you all have questions like, hey, what can I do to up my game in digital technology? You know, I strongly recommend students to, you know, go on LinkedIn Learning. LinkedIn is a professional, I would say professional social networking type of site only for professionals. It's basically, if you ask me, it's like your Facebook of professionals, okay? And so they also have a section called LinkedIn Learning where they will give you free classes like on Microsoft Office or programming or coding or Excel. And so you definitely want to take advantage. And as a UHD student, you have opportunities for that as well. Okay. All right, let's go ahead. So of course, the first step is to, when it comes to career planning and academic planning, is understanding yourself is the first step of career and educational planning. Knowing who you are. That is the first thing that I will always tell my students. And when you come and see me, let's say that you are unsure of your major. I know most of you are already, you know, juniors, and you pretty much have already chosen a major. But of course, I'm sure that, you know, some of you all may still, you know, be deciding or maybe second guessing. The first thing that I ask is, if you come into my office, is I ask you, okay, what do you like? And that's always one of those questions too, where some of us get nervous, or, you know, sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming because the spotlight's on you, right? And so some of us are shy or whatnot, or can't think, you know, at the top of our head, you know, in the spot. And so next question I will ask is, what don't you like? And it's always easier for us as individuals to always point out what you don't like versus what you like, you know, because I know what you like, it can be a lot of things. So when you're narrowing it down to like, okay, what I like, you know, may, you know, ultimately, you know, affect what I do in the future, it's a little bit, you know, nerve-wracking, right? But if I tell you what don't you like, you know, it's easy, like, oh, I don't like math, or I don't like writing, you know? So that's the next question. It's like, what don't you like? And so we start off with that. If sometimes, you know, it takes a little bit longer to point out, you know, your top 3 interests or your top 3 hobbies. And so the reason why that's the second question is because once we know, like, okay, what you don't like, what you don't enjoy, we can cross those off the list. Now, I always tell students, okay, if you tell me you don't like math or science or writing or, you know, social sciences, you know, depending on the career you see yourself doing, I will let you all know, like, you may have to do a little bit of math. So sometimes we have to do certain things we don't enjoy to get to where we want to be, where we see ourselves enjoying, you know, what we are going to be doing. So yes, step 1 is identify your interests, personality values, skills, and lifestyles, preferences. All of that is important. You definitely want to make sure that you enjoy what you will be doing in the future, because you will be probably spending maybe 8 hours or more a day. I mean, you'll probably be working 40 hours a week, maybe even more in some of these companies, you know, maybe 50 to 60 hours depending. So you definitely want to make sure that you at least enjoy most of your time when you are at your job. Now, there will be days, you know, I enjoy what I love to do. I love, you know, helping students out, you know, helping you all grow. But if you ask me, you know, hey, Christy, you know, and of course this was pre-COVID, you know, do you like getting up at 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning and commuting? I don't like that, you know, but when I get to the office, I feel I feel a sense of enjoyment and fulfillment that I'm here. So you definitely want to make sure, like, hey, am I a morning person? Am I a night person? Am I, You know, do I like dressing professional all the time? You know, do I want to dress laid back? You know, so you got to take all of that into consideration, because you will, like I said, you will be working, you know, for 40 or more, depending on how the future looks. You know, it's funny because I'm reading all these articles saying, you know, are the 8 to 5 office days over or whatnot because of what we're going through. But just think of it like this: you'll be in your career for maybe the next, you know, 20 plus years. So you definitely want to know and enjoy, you know, what you do. The second is to explore the occupations and major areas related to, you know, your personal attributes, okay? And so the next thing would be your academic strengths are just as important as your personality and your values and your hobbies, because, you know, that also plays into, will you be able to pursue the career that you're interested in? You know, does your major support your academic strengths? You know, what subjects are you good in? What subjects do you need tutoring on, improvement on, okay? And how do you get the support for these classes that you need to improve? And so one thing is that, you know, you always hear it, especially for, you know, I think right now, you know, it's every major, you know, but you mostly tend to hear it for STEM majors. Hey, are you good at math or science, you know? And so I don't want my students to be discouraged that, hey, if you're not good at math or science, steer clear from those majors. No, if you are not good, there are resources that will help you improve, okay? Now, you know, I'm not saying like, hey, you know, you're going to become a math genius, but, you know, definitely get the help that you need, like tutoring to get through those hard math classes, to continue on those biology classes that you enjoy, or those, you know, upper level other science courses that you enjoy, or engineering courses, okay? And so there are a lot of resources that we have on campus. I have a worksheet that I will send you all at the end of this workshop, and it's basically, you know, a worksheet that has everything. If you need help with your classes, deciding what to take, going to advising, going to your advisor center. If you need help with career coaching, coming to me, knowing where I'm at. If you need tutoring, knowing where the academic support center is at. So you have all of these resources at your fingertips to be successful, okay, here at UHD. The next thing is the Focus 2. So I know you guys, you've been hearing the Focus 2, you've been seeing the emails, make sure you take the Focus 2. If you have, thank you. You know, if you have not, I definitely recommend to take it. It's a fun and neat little personality assessment to help you match your likes, your interests, your values to occupations, as well help you see what majors you can major at UHD to get you to that occupation or that career pathway. So it is an online interactive self-guided. It can help you select a major based on your interests and map out your career plans and all of that, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and exit now. You may have seen that now it's fooling me. And I'm gonna just briefly go over what you will see, or what you have seen once if you've taken the Focus 2 or you haven't, what you will see. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me stop sharing here. Okay. And then meanwhile, let's see, let me open this up. Okay, and then you can actually find our website. So I already have the Focus 2 open. I have my Focus 2. I took it as well. You can find all of our information on our website. If you go to the UHD website, we are actually located under Quick Links. You will see that we are the first career center at UHD. You have the other career center for Maryland Davies College of Business. So this career center is for all of our business majors, with the exception of GTF, because you guys are assigned to me, but I can also help you with the same services that the career center at the Davies College of Business, what they do. But for the main career center, everybody outside of business, you would click on the Career Center UHD. You will see all of our information. So you'll see our banner showing you all of, you know, our services, events coming up and all of that. You'll see that, you know, we have the Career Hub right now due to COVID. You will also see that this little gator right here and jobs for gators, this is actually a student account that you all have access to, okay? This is our account for the main career center. So this is where you can upload your resume so I can review it, give it back to you. This is where you can actually search through our job board as well as our internship board. We have jobs and internships. We have employers that post on there that are looking for students. You can actually conduct mock interviews through here, schedule an appointment with me and all of that. So I highly recommend that whenever you get a chance, log in. It's going to be the same username as your Blackboard username and password, okay? And so once you log in, you're gonna set up your profile and all of that good stuff, and then you'll have access to it, okay? Here, you're going to see a lot of neat information. The career assessment is right here. So it is the Focus 2. We have the other ones that we recommend that are free. Focus 2 is actually the one UHD has sponsored as well as provided students access to for free. So let's go in there. Once you are in your career, in your Focus 2 page, you're going to see all of these different icons, okay? I highly recommend for you to take all of the assessments, okay? Because it's going to give you a better understanding of who you are and what type of career pathway you should pursue. So you definitely want to go ahead and take advantage of the career planning. That's pretty much saying, oh, it's already logged me out. I've been logged in too long. So let's go ahead and do this again. Of course this would happen, right? There it goes, perfect, okay. And so see, I'm able to utilize your information as well, but for today I will be a student. Okay, so here it goes. So my career planning. So career planning has to do with how far are you into, you know, you're getting ready for your career. So for example, you know, have you taken, you know, the Focus 2, the exploration, the planning, what are your steps to get there? So you definitely want to take that to see. I'm pretty sure right now you may not score as high because you're still in the middle of your college career, but I would definitely recommend to take this, and then you could always retake it maybe in your senior year or so, okay? The next one is your academic strengths. So you could see I would do very well in the following subjects. I would do all right, and then I never took any of these subjects. And so this is where you self-assess yourself, okay? How good are you? When you're self-assessing your strengths, you also want to take into consideration the type of grades you've made in the past, okay? Before I became a career coach, I was actually an academic advisor, and I was an advisor for a good 10 years. And so I would always have students that would say, I'm okay in math, and you know, I would look at the grades and I would say otherwise. Of course, you know, sometimes depending on the class, you know, you may be going through so much in a class, maybe that one semester something happened personally, you know, maybe, you know, you got laid off or something, your parents, you know, something happened, you know, your parents were laid off or something, and that could affect us. But when I start seeing semesters, you know, with, you know, C's and D's in certain subjects, and I would say, you know, you may want to reassess that. Or once again, go into tutoring, you know, if you haven't done so. And so you want to be as honest as you can in, you know, these, you know, for all these questions. And then getting career ready is just basically making sure that you are prepared, you know, in all of the 8 career competencies, okay? They also give you pointers on how to prepare yourself. So for example, like leadership, they may tell you, hey, join a student professional organization. And I'm letting you know as a career coach right now, if you haven't done so, join a professional organization. I know it's hard right now because we're all at home, but professional organizations on campus, student organizations are still meeting virtually and still doing activities, okay? I think you can contact student activities and they could give you a list of all the organizations that are available on campus. Not only does that help you with understanding your field and your major, but it's also going to help you with networking, which is so important nowadays, okay? Okay, so let's go back. And then you have all of these other sections. So the work interest is the one that we focus on well as any other sections, but the work interest will give you your top 3 strengths. It will give you your work interest Holland code. And so the Holland code comes from Dr. John Holland, who was I would say a behaviorist researcher. And so he actually came up with 6 different categories or groups, and where individuals, based on their personalities, where they score high in the workplace. And so looking at this, you know, when you see my Holland code, I scored high in the social area, the artistic, and the enterprising. And so, of course, you know, the social are the helpers, artistic are the creators, and then the enterprising are the persuaders. Sometimes when you hear enterprising, you may think, you know, business and maybe having to sell and do all of that stuff, which, you know, there is some accuracy to that. But it's also, you know, as an enterpriser, you also like to, you know, motivate, you know, give presentations and all of that. The neat thing about all of these is that it actually has the explanation in each section for each group, okay? So just because I scored high in these first 3 doesn't mean that I don't have any of the last 3 categories, okay? It just means that I scored higher, and then I still, you know, have some attributes from the last 3 categories, okay? And so when you're looking at this, reflect back, look at yourself, you know, think back, okay, is this true? Do I like to work with others? Do I enjoy teaching? And all of that, okay? Most of the time when I meet with my students, they typically say, you know, this is accurate of who I am. Now, this is where it gets kind of fuzzy for some students, is that at the bottom, they will give you career occupations that are related to those top 3 categories, okay? So look at my first occupation, academic advisor. I did that for 10 years. So to this extent, for my results, they were pretty accurate or spot on. Now, sometimes I may have students that say, I don't see myself being an academic advisor. Actually, you know, I'm an introvert. I prefer to work alone, and that is okay. One thing that I say, you know, I always tell them, you know, use this more as a tool to guide you, okay? Just because you see careers on this list doesn't, you know, that you don't see yourself pursuing in the future, doesn't mean that, you know, oh, you have to pursue these. No, I'm also saying take everything, take it all in, use this, the focus too holistically. Look at who you are, look at your personality attributes, and think about the environments that you would be successful in, okay? Now, if you see careers that match to your interests and you're like, okay, I'm interested in maybe, you know, let's say becoming a literacy and remedial educational teacher. Okay, so what would I have to major in? The neat thing about it is that right next to the occupation, it gives you a supporting major here at UHD. So, you know, this may also serve as, okay, I'm on the right path. I chose this as my major coming into UHD. I already have most of the courses because, you know, I already have an associate's degree. I'm on the right path, you know, moving forward. And then, of course, it gives you a medium mean salary, meaning that's in the middle. Either you can, you know, start off a little bit lower and then work your way up, or maybe earn more than this. So one thing I always tell everyone is, you know, first thing I always hear is, you know, I want a good salary, you know, I want a good career where I'm making a lot of money. That's one factor. That's just one piece of the puzzle, okay? You definitely also want to make sure that you are comfortable and you enjoy what you do, okay? But just because you see it's a mean doesn't mean that, hey, you know, is sometimes I will hear reactions of, is this all? You know, there's very different factors, okay? Some occupations may require more training, more schooling, and that, you know, that way you could advance and earn more, okay? So just don't focus on this. Also, you have to remember, you want to make sure that you are living within, you know, what you can afford as well. So budgeting is a big part of career planning as well. And then it gives you the job family, where it belongs. So of course with me, you will see a lot of community, social service, a lot of education in there, okay? So this is one section that I like to focus on, as well as the values. So the values will tell you, give you more information, what are your top 3 values, and then also give you more information on your careers, different types of careers that you could pursue based on that. Personality, same thing. Gives you a brief explanation of, you know, how you scored within the personality. So you approach projects and work with a sense of responsibility, getting the job done in a systematic way. It's true, I like structure. And then it gives you career. So see, here it starts changing a little bit. It starts giving me some, you know, accounting information, actuary, more business type of majors, because business majors tend to be structured, or most of those positions are structured, okay? And then you have your skills. My top 3 skills are helping, listening, problem solving. Gives you me more information. And then leisure. I always think that leisure is also important, because what you do in your free time is just as important. If I have any crafters in here, you know, if you like to use the Cricut, or you like to, you know, scrapbook, that is just as important, because your skills, you know, you're using organizational skills, detail, you know, you pay attention to details. So all of that is just as important. If you draw on your free time, that is just as important. If you like to dance, whatever you like to do on your leisure time, it is just as important and could help you with your career as well, with working on your skills. And so it gives you some information. For me, I'm a thinker, creator, helping, and then it gives me occupations, okay? And then you can always combine all of them and then get an actual report based on everything, okay? So if you haven't taken the Focus 2, I strongly recommend you taking it and playing around with it. Sometimes it's fun, you know, I know us career coaches and academic advisors, we've taken it and we're like, oh, wow, that is true. Oh, like, this is neat. It actually describes me. Sometimes it's like, that's not who I am. Another thing I encourage is to retake it, you know, take it today and then retake it in your senior year, because you change, and, you know, as you grow, you change, okay? You started today, you know, on, you know, one pathway with, you know, a different mindset. Then, you know, you grow, you graduate, you may have another, you know, more values added, you know, your beliefs may have changed. So this is the Focus 2 in a nutshell. You know, if you are thinking about changing your major, that would be the first tool that I would recommend, is to take the Focus 2. And then come and talk to me, and we could play around and you know, look at different careers, and maybe explore different options that you have, you know, maybe ask you some more in-depth questions. If you are thinking about adding a minor and you're still unsure, the Focus 2 will also help you, you know. Another thing that I also use is when you are still undecided, or if you're like, hey, I am sure that I want to do this, but I just want to double check, is that in our website, we also have this Explore Majors and Careers section. And if you hit Majors and Careers, you will be able to get a handout with different related positions within your major, okay? Different careers within your major. So let's say you are gonna do a College of Public Service. If I have a criminal justice major in here, click on here, excuse me, it gives you possible position titles, industries that you can work in, professional organizations that you can join. Some of them are here at UHD as well. Career-specific websites that you can do more research. Graduate school, you know, some careers do require, you know, an advanced degree. And so they'll even break it down and say, hey, these programs are offered here at UHD, or some are not. So you maybe have to explore other institutions. And then community partnerships. So partnerships that we have already developed where you could probably intern or volunteer. And so that's what's neat about it. This was my favorite part of our website, you know, especially when I was an advisor, because an advisor, I always heard, what can I do with this career? And so I definitely recommend, you know, as a student, play around with it, explore it. If you are a data, let's see, no, safety, excuse me, let's go ahead and choose another, control and instrumentation engineering technology. I saw that the other one was a master's degree. you can actually see like, okay, as someone who's majoring in engineering technology, you know, I can become an analyzer technician. Same thing. And then each one of these handouts will also have a sample resume that you could use, and then we could also help you with, okay? Okay, so that pretty much concludes our presentation, our workshop on Focus 2, and then some of the tools that we have on our website. In addition to that, we also have like, what can I do with this major, employers by major, and then, oh, right before we leave is another resource that I definitely recommend is the Occupational Outlook Handbook. This is actually by the Department of Labor. And so this is a handbook where you can search any type of career that you can think of. They divide it by occupational groups, but then you can also, you know, type in, like, for example, nurse. And then you click on registered nurses. They will give you a summary of what they do. So it's like a quick snapshot, but then they go into detail. What they do, the duties, like, are you standing, you know, all day? You know, are you standing only for half a day? They'll also give you the different sections of, you know, it's not only being a nurse, or are you going to work, you know, in critical care or, you know, genetics and all of that. Then the work environment, you know, do you have to, you know, work with, you know, like I mentioned earlier, inside, outside, standing all day, working with fluids, you know. It's another thing I always ask, you know, our future nurses, you know, hey, you know, do you like to stand all day? Are you okay working with blood? So those are type of questions that we start asking, you know, even with our teachers, you know, you want to be a kindergarten teacher, do you like kids? So those are things that, you know, you have to start thinking about in your industry, whichever one you choose. And so this actual Outlook handbook actually is great to answer those questions and give you some more detailed information. The pay, the outlook, is expected to grow, similar occupations, okay? Maybe, you know, nursing is not for you, but maybe being a physician assistant or a social worker, all of that. So that's another neat tool. I'm glad I was able to see that before we log off. So let me go ahead and pull up the presentation. Does anybody have any questions? And while you are thinking of questions to ask me, if you could please take our survey and let us know how we did. We are always looking to improving our services. So I'll give you a couple minutes. If you have any questions, I'll be here. And that pretty much concludes what we presented today. Oh, you're on mute, Brandon.
There we go. Technology is not my friend most of the time. I just want to make a couple of comments. Thank you, first of all, for presenting this valuable workshop. I think it makes students realize that there's much more than the academic side in the coursework they're taking now to the end result. One thing I do want to mention is, and I mentioned this during our fall retreat to the students, is the added responsibility they have as graduates from early college high schools who will be finishing early, much younger than the people in traditional high school. So you're going to be finishing with a degree very soon, 2 to 3 years, you have a degree. And I talk about distinguishing yourself among your peers. And that's where you know, Christy can help you, and you need to start thinking about building up that resume. If you have a degree, for example, in business at age 20, how are you going to compete against somebody who's in their 30s or 40s or 50s with life experiences, with job experience? You can do that, but you have to think about the things that you can add to your resume with the internships, with the job shadowing. I think it's really important at this point, as Christy mentioned, about organizations, maybe not this first semester, but think about ways that you can demonstrate that even though you may be younger than the applicants to the jobs you'll be applying for later, that you have a lot more to bring to the table. Your connection with a demographic that's different. If somebody's 50 years old, 60 years old, applying for the same job you are more aware of social media, you are more aware of things that may contribute to your application being looked at more favorably. So think about building yourself up, getting those experiences. Also, I had a question, Christy. I think when we did this workshop last year, we had talked about, I'm not sure where it's found on the website, but the value of connecting perhaps with alumni who have similar, who had the same major, and what are they doing now? Is there a way through career services?
Yes, actually, we don't have that information on our website, but we do host alumni panels, and the colleges do too. So the colleges actually will also have career ready workshops where we partner up with them, and then we together, the college and the main career center, bring in alumni that have graduated, you know, within your majors, and tell you like, hey, this is what I'm doing here, you know?
Great.
So yes, we will have that.
I think that's a great opportunity to start thinking about or connecting in some way. And you could be, proactive as a student and try to make those connections with the career that you're intending to go into.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to people that are actually doing it now. Find out, as Christy mentioned about some jobs, it's just much more than just a description on a page. I have so many friends that were interested in law, going to law school, and then they finally got out. They got their, years and years of, and they were unhappy because of the hours that they had to put in that distanced them from their families. Same thing in medical profession. So there's a lot more involved. What kind of life do you envision for yourself once you get that degree and you're out in the field working? Will your self-satisfaction sustain you for many years with that career? I do want to just throw in real quick the idea that this first semester, I can't believe that next week is like, I think, week 4 for us in the semester. 2 weeks from now we'll be doing midterms, kind of crazy. And this first semester is so important. So please do connect. I know that our GTF mentors, Francisco and Sabrina, have devised a Discord server as a way of connecting for the cohort. So do get involved in that. If there's any questions whatsoever regarding career, regarding internships, please connect with Christy. If you have anything that I can help you with in terms of advising financial aid, now is the time to ask the questions. Now is the time to feel comfortable with this transition. I know it was a crazy start, but I think we're on the road now. We're on the road, and we should be able to help you with any issues you might have to make this first semester. As I mentioned during the retreat, you have no GPA at this point. This is a blank slate. It's an opportunity to reinvent yourself, but it's a more challenging time too as well. So, take advantage of the opportunities to connect with the resources like Christy, like the Advising Center, like the Gator Success Center that will help you to make this one of your best semesters.
Yes, thank you, Brandon. Yes, and I will be sending that UHD resource sheet that I mentioned earlier to everybody after the today's presentation. So yes, I received a couple questions privately, but if no one has any questions, this is pretty much it for us. Anybody have any questions? Okay, yes.
I'm probably speaking for everybody when I say this, but like, is there a way we can like apply for more financial aid throughout the semester rather than having to wait within those small time periods?
That's a good question. I would reach out to the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships to see if they have any extra, maybe some leftover funds that have not been utilized. Definitely reach out to them and see, hey, I'm in need of more aid. Is there anything else that I can do? Reach out to them, and then also you could reach out to the Gator Success Center. Sometimes they may have some extra funds as well. So yes, hopefully that answers.
Some of the stuff they're gonna apply to right now are gonna be only utilized for the next semester, unless you had any things that you applied for before the semester started. It's gonna be refunded to you. However, anything started after the semester is only gonna be added to your next semester refund.
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for answering my question, by the way. I just wanted to know that because their financial aid office is kind of busy. I could tell. It took me an hour and a half to reach one person. So that's why I wanted to know. Okay, so that probably explains why they have so much call volume. Thank you.
Yes, but you know what? I would still reach out and see. It doesn't hurt to ask, because sometimes they'll let you know, hey, we could still, sometimes most funds are pushed over, but sometimes they do have some funds that can be released this semester. So it doesn't hurt to ask. Okay, I'm all about.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd rather get a no than just stay wondering.
All right, thank you very much.
One of the comments I wanted to make is
You're
that
welcome.
financial aid, they are slow moving many times. I just heard this week that some of my 2018 GTF scholars just heard about their Texas grants this week. They were stressing because they took a payment plan out, an installment plan, and the first installment was due, and they hadn't heard anything back, but they are now following up. Always double check your profile in PeopleSoft to see if there's any particular holds. For example, this is your first semester, so it wouldn't impact you, but some of the students had received financial aid for this semester, but had a small balance from last semester, from the summer or the spring. And even though the money for this semester would cover that, they have to take care of that back financial delinquency hold before they can get the new money released. So it's a kind of a strange, but reach out to me personally if I can put you in touch with someone specifically in financial aid. I have David Landry, I mentioned, is our GTF financial aid counselor, but there's also a few people like Elvira Rodriguez. She's the customer support person in financial aid that very few people even know about, and she's been great. So she's another person I can refer you to. If it deals with financial aid also in the student accounting, Mr. Donald Wicks is another person. So I can provide you with their names and their contact information. And rather than just contacting financial aid at the main desk, I think it's a little bit easier if you connect with somebody who's got your best interests at heart.
Okay, I really appreciate it, Mr. Kuzmic. Okay.
No problem, my pleasure. Thank you, Christy, again. And we look forward to the next workshop, which is coming up. I
believe October.
October, yeah.
Yes, October. I think it's the
before that.
First week or so. But I will be sending everybody a reminder. My pleasure. You know, I always love working with our GTF scholars. You all have my information, my email. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. We could see if we could do a Zoom. Hopefully, maybe in the spring, we could, you know, we'll get the green light, maybe meet face to face, but we don't know when. But like I said, there's no difference of what we provide virtually and in person. Any other questions?
Mr.
Good, we're actually on time. Hader?
Oh.
I'm sorry. Is it too late to change sizes for the shirts order, or?
Yeah, just send me your desired thing. I ordered a couple of extras just to be sure.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to change my size, but I mean, I could still go with the original one. But I mean,
okay, well just shoot me what you want, and I'll see if I have it. Okay. Great.
That'll be great. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Christy. And
thank you.
Have a great weekend, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Yes, enjoy your weekend, GTF scholars. Have a good one.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great Friday.
Bye. You too. Enjoy that breakfast.